Hello, welcome to Geeking Out with Shad. Dear auto industry, if you're going to do this conversion to EVs, here's a list of the most important things you should be working on. Number one, and the most important thing, and no, it's not what everybody's talking about, but I'm bringing it up because it is definitely a problem here with my Chevrolet Bolt EUV. You need to be able to fix the cars when they have problems, just like you do ICE vehicles. And with all this technology in these vehicles and you outsourcing things like the infotainment and camera systems and all of that to third parties, they absolutely need to be able to be debugged. I'm a software engineer, and when we write code, we write system logs, and those system logs are designed that when something goes wrong, there's output. You should be able to plug into your standard port on your car and get the system logs and be able to diagnose a problem with the system, like the infotainment system and the camera problems I'm having with my car, where the dealership is just absolutely clueless. They have no idea. They call Chevrolet and Chevrolet says, replace this, replace that. It's just a guessing game, and they've replaced things and it still isn't fixed. They have no capacity or idea of how to fix things when there's a problem. And that is going to be a huge failure as we move into these higher technology vehicles and things like that. So that is number one, believe it or not. You need to be more like a software company and less like your 100-some-year-old automobile manufacturer. And the dealership network that you guys all rely on absolutely sucks, and that needs to be fixed while we're at it. Two, and this one is talked about quite a bit, charging infrastructure. And I know that the individual automobile manufacturers aren't necessarily in charge of that, aside from Tesla. And it seems like you're kind of on the right track, but when I go to Electrify America, and they are by far the worst, when half of the chargers don't function and don't work, that's going to be a huge turnoff to anybody. And it's one of these things where if I go and look at my app and it says, oh, I can charge here, and I drive X amount of miles and I'm starting to get low on charge, and then I go to a charger and it's not working, that would be like somebody running out of gas, showing up at the gas station and they were out of gas and you're just stranded. You're just stuck. That can't happen. The moment people start experiencing that, the moment they're going to say, screw EVs, I'm not even going to go there. So that charging infrastructure absolutely needs to get better. And Electrify America, you absolutely need to fix your problems because you're not keeping up with your promises at all. I know Volkswagen was behind it and that you were forced to do it because of the whole diesel emissions scandal and all of that. So you're probably half-assing it just to impress people, but it's not working. Fix your charging stations. Put more money into them. Fix them. And three, I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and U.S. manufacturers, you're in Detroit. Why the cold weather just kills the range on my car, I do not know. But that's another one of these problems you have to solve. If heat pump is the solution, then why are you even selling cars without heat pumps like the Bolt EUV? The fact that in the wintertime, I'm getting 100 to 120 miles of range on my battery. And then in the summer, I can get over 300 miles of range. Should there really be that much of a difference? So scientists, you got to solve this problem, whatever it takes. And cars should have heat pumps. I was kind of surprised to see that the Volkswagen ID4, they offer heat pumps to their cars in Canada, but they don't offer heat pumps to their cars in the United States. Well, I hate to say it, but if you live in Montreal, you're in a warmer climate than you are if you live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So that makes no sense whatsoever. You absolutely need to solve the cold weather problem. Again, there's a lot of people that can't embrace EVs if they live in a colder climate, simply because of the massive range hit that we take. And to back that up, the charging infrastructure that needs to also work really well in cold temperatures, because a lot of times when it's cold and you plug in to charge at a fast charger, you're getting maybe 20th of its, or 20% of its capacity, maybe 30% than what it can do in warm weather. So these are problems that need to be solved pretty urgently. And fourth, and this is one that is also talked about a lot, is range. Some of you do quite well, and for this car in its price range, it's pretty good at 250-ish miles of EPA estimated range. But we're moving into this phase where really a car shouldn't get below 300 miles of range. Like, that should be the benchmark. So 300 miles should be the benchmark, especially with the cold weather issues that I talked about earlier. But in general, you should be pushing for that 300-mile benchmark. Tesla has been over that benchmark for quite some time. And so when I go look at the rest of the auto industry, I'm like, why aren't they where Tesla's at yet? Like, how can Tesla have that much better of range than anybody else? Like, that should be the benchmark. When I can see that a Model Y can get roughly 320-ish miles of range, why are Volvos and other cars like that Audis and things that cost like just as much, if not more, only getting 220 miles, 240 miles of range? That just makes no sense. Like, that's your competitive number, is 300 or more. So you definitely need to be offering cars with more range. So there you have it. Those are your top 4. And believe it or not, that number 1, figuring out how to fix your product quickly, efficiently, diagnose what the problems are, is still number 1. Because if you can't do that, you're just going to have more and more dissatisfied customers, more and more people get turned off. You need to hire software engineers, technical engineers, people that understand these cars. Because if you don't, and that goes with the dealerships too, it's going to just fail. That is by far the most important issue. And start tackling it now, because it's just going to get worse from here on out. I appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.